Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Hi guys, Rick Pete back here again with another video for you. This is basically one I decided to do because I've been doing the videos about various replica belts and prediction videos, various other different videos that I've done. I decided to do this one. It's more of a sort of how I got into wrestling video. Basically, I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to go right back and describe everything. Just sort of key moments in my life when I first got into wrestling, various other things. So you get sort of a better idea of me. It's like I don't want to say getting to know me video, but I suppose essentially that's really what it is. It's going to be basically about my first experiences of wrestling, stuff like that. Hopefully I won't drone on. If I repeat anything, I do apologise. Like I say, it's something I've just decided to do. As you can see, I'm slowly turning my bedroom into a bit of a studio. I just threw a few things out there in background to brighten up, like a t-shirt, one of my other replica belts, a couple of DVDs, stuff that I sort of chose to represent various areas of wrestling to me, that mean a lot to me. I first got into wrestling when I was somewhere between 9 and 11 years old. A friend of mine who lived on the corner, they had Sky TV. I'm sure you guys in the States have heard WWE mention it, Sky TV in the UK. And for those of you in the UK, you will remember when Sky TV first came around. There weren't many people had it. Massive satellite dishes. It wasn't cheap. We never had it. For a long time before I got satellite TV. We didn't have it. But a friend around the corner from me, he did. He had Sky TV, and I remember him asking his mum if I could go around, stay over one night. His mum said it was fine. Approached my mum were fine with it. I went round to his house, like I said, somewhere between 9 and 11 years. I think about 9 or 10. Because I was already I would be about 9, somewhere about 9-year-old. So I remember me about 9 or 10. So I went round to his for his sleepover, and he'd sort of watched a couple of episodes of Saturday Night's Main Event, as it were back then, and he told me about this wrestling, and it was like, I don't know what you're on about. So that night I went round to his, watched WWF. End of that first show, I was like, this is brilliant, this is awesome. His mum okayed it for me to go around every weekend, stay over and watch it. My mum was fine with it, obviously with the whole parental, don't try it at home, you two don't go out, to the bedroom, roll around on the bed trying to do this sort of stuff. Which, even as kids, we kind of knew that you're not really supposed to do that. The fact that they have to warn this generation of children is just scary, but I digress. Stayed over at his, watched WWF. I was hooked instantly. I remember just thinking this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. We also managed to watch some early WCW, I'm sure of it. I definitely remember WWF, but we may have got some WCW somehow. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I remember definitely watching WWF. It is obviously as a child, you get pocket money off your mum. I used to save mine when I found out that a newsagents near me had started stocking the WWF magazine. Obviously, given the advent of satellite TV over here, a few more people had access to it, so a newsagent started selling it. I remember my newsagent telling me, we don't know, we're going to give it a trial, see how it goes, and I asked him if he could save it for me, and he were like, well, I don't know. So I had a word with my dad. My dad went in and just said, look, can you save this for him every month? That were it. I started getting WWF magazine. Bought it every month with my pocket money. I saved so much of my weekly pocket money up, so I always had enough for it at the end of the month. Some people may have, if you've watched any of my other videos, and I hope you have, if not, they're all there on the channel. There was my first WWF pay-per-view that was bought for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it. Well, I know where it is, it's just buried. To put it back up there to show you, it would have been nice to have been able to show you all, but first WWF VHS I got was SummerSlam 1988. My nan got me it for my birthday because I used to go up to hers and used to talk to her about wrestling, and my granny used to go, oh, we've been watching, we watch wrestling on, English television, Giant A-Stars, Big Daddy. And I'm like, no, it's nowhere near this. Obviously not realising, like, years later, just how big of an influence some of the British wrestlers were on American wrestlers. Like currently still reading the Bret Hart book, and it mentions Giant A-Stacks going to wrestle for Stampede Wrestling. When Bret came over here with Dynamite, it mentions like Big Daddy and Rollerball Rocco, Kendo Nagasaki and all that. I got the video. Like I've said before in other videos, you may have seen it. Still have it to this day. Will never ever part with it. Purely because the sentimental value. It was the first wrestling VHS I got. Mostly because it was something my nan got me. She passed a few years ago, and she was always the sort of one that I sat and talked to about wrestling. She didn't know anything about it, but she sat and she listened, and she used to look through magazines with me, and she'd ask me who wrestlers were, and I'd tell her who they were, and whether they were like good guys or bad guys, because back then obviously I was young, I didn't realise the face and heel type thing. Then she also got me a Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling video. I remember just turning up at the house and saying she'd been into a shop in the little village where we lived, or near where we lived, sorry. And she'd spotted this, and she was just like, it's wrestling, and I just thought you'd like it. And I was like, oh yeah, thanks, I'm thinking it's women's wrestling, Nan, what you done? Put this video in, and I was blown away. I mean, some of the wrestling were pretty sloppy, but I remember I don't remember the name of the female wrestlers involved. That's no slight on them or anything, I was only a kid. But I remember having to make sure my mum wasn't in the room the next time I watched it, because she would have took the video straight off me. One woman chased one of the other women with a blowtorch, adamant, I'm set you on fire. And I remember thinking, oh my god, these are women. The guys that watch in WWF don't do this. These are women, and they're trying to set each other on fire. It was absolutely unreal to me. And then obviously that started the bug. My friend invited me around to watch wrestling. And my nan gave me the VHS. That was it. Seed was planted. I was hooked. Like I said, I still have the SummerSlam 88 VHS stored away safely with the rest of my VHSs. Over the years, my collection expanded. A lot later on though, actually. I lost touch with wrestling when we moved from where I used to live, so I couldn't go down to my friends and watch it with him. So kind of lost track of wrestling. And a guy who worked with my dad said, oh, I can get it. And he used to record the pay-per-views for us. So probably highly illegal, but one of those things. And I remember that coming home with VHS tapes that his friend had given him. The Royal Rumbles, WrestleManias, SummerSlams, Survivor Series. Me and my dad used to sit and watch them, preferably when Mum was out of the house, so we could sit and watch it in peace. Mum was never a fan of wrestling. And then I lost touch with it completely. Guy left my dad's work, so I'd had no other way of getting hold of it. So we still couldn't afford Sky TV, so that was that. I lost touch with it, and that was it. I mean, I still saw the magazines and the news agents, but I didn't bother buying them because I wanted to know what was going on. And then lo and behold, got friends with the lads next door to us in his new house, and they were into wrestling. So I got back into it, and it was right in the heyday of the Attitude Era. Looking back, timing was perfect. His mum was fine with us going around to watch it. We used to watch it, and then they built a conservatory on the back of their house. And then they had which meant we could go in the conservatory and watch it. So we weren't in the front room; we were out of the way, which worked out ideal. Straight out of the conservatory, straight to the back of my house. I used to go around, watch it with them. So right in the heyday of the Attitude Era, and I remember being amazed just how much wrestling had changed. You got like the Austin, you got Rock, and it was just amazing. I'd instantly developed new favourites. Obviously, like I said, The Rock, loved The Rock, Austin, DX, Triple H, X-Pac, and the Outlaws, because I'd missed the original DX of Shawn, Triple H, and China. But yeah, it was just like, wow, this is awesome. And it got better. My friend's auntie moved to the top of the street. They had it wasn't satellite, it was something else, like a cable TV, I suppose would be the equivalent for you guys in the States. The guys in the UK, it was NTL, which became Virgin. She had that, and they had loads of various random channels. She had access to WCW, so once she found out that me and her nephew watched wrestling, she was like, well, we can tape that for you. It's on late at night, we're usually in bed, but I can set the video up to record it, and probably highly illegal, but what the hell, we were kids. So she used to take that from it, and then all of a sudden she says, I found this other wrestling, would you like me to take that for you? So I was like, what is it? She's like, it's called Extreme Championship Wrestling. Yeah, I'll give that a go. And that led to me getting ECW taped by her. Basically, I used to go up, chop the VHSs off, one for WCW, one for ECW. She'd record them for me. One was on one night, one was on the next, and then I'd go up, collect them, watch them with my friend next door, and I think my friend over the road, he used to come over occasionally. He'd sit and watch them with us, and that was it. From that point on, again, I was hooked. 3 different companies to watch. An expanding collection of VHS just before DVDs went out. Found a guy who was selling the classic wrestling events on the local market. Used to go down, and I bought so many videos off him. He started doing me special rates on them, special deals and stuff. And I just got a ridiculous amount of VHSs. Started buying the newer stuff. From like mail order from a place, before we had internet, and before that was widely available. So a lot of youngsters now will be like, what, you mean internet's not always been around? No, it hasn't. It was that was something else, that when it first came about, there were only a select few could afford internet, and even then it was horrendous. So the only option you had was like mail order, and they send you a catalogue, send your order form off, send you your VHSs with another catalogue with some more order forms in. And then that led to us eventually getting the cable TV, the Virgin. My dad, mum and dad had divorced by this point, so my dad got Virgin, and we had the sports channels through there. at Sky Sports through Virgin, which, you know, it's the only way to watch WWE over here really. It's just Sky Sports, legally anyway. So I used to stay up when I was out of work. Stayed up, watched Raw live on the Monday nights, early hours of the morning over here. It's about 1 a.m, 2 a.m. in the morning. It starts over here in the UK. So I used to stay up and watch that, and then I'd still watch the repeat on a Thursday nights. My dad sometimes, if depending on his work shift, he'd sit and watch it with us. A couple of my friends would come round, and they'd watch it with us, and obviously that led to you know, the video games. You know, I'd have my friends round. We'd be sat with the PlayStation 2 and the multi-tap adapter playing, you know, the SmackDown games and everything. Obviously early on I got the action figures. My brother had a brief stint of wrestling. He got the ring somehow. I was a bigger wrestling fan, but he got a ring. It was the old blue Hasbro one, the flag and the belt. He didn't have the sound thing though. I remember him not having the sound thing. Between us we had a great collection of wrestling figures, a lot of which I sold as I grew up. I was sort of persuaded to buy my mum, but I have bought some more over the last few years. You know, the old original ones. I do have some action figures. I don't have a massive collection, just ones that I'd spotted on eBay, and it was like, oh, you know, oh yeah, I like that. That's affordable. Or ones that I spotted in a shop in Leeds, where I mentioned in my TNA video, when I first got into them, they had some figures in there for sale. I bought a Christian Cage TNA figure, which again is put away safe. Otherwise I would have had that out on the video, the background there. But yeah, so that, you know, at that point I was watching Raw, I was watching SmackDown, and I had my friend's mum still taping ECW and WCW for me. Then obviously WWE bought out WCW, ECW went defunct until they relaunched, and then when they relaunched I started watching that, the WWE, ECW. So yeah, basically I just watched as much wrestling as I could. DVDs were out then, so yeah, VHS or DVD option. I realised obviously DVD was the way forward, so I stopped buying VHSs and moved on to DVDs, which I have a decent collection of. I get them as and when. Girlfriend keeps complaining I have too many DVDs, to which my answer is you can never have too many wrestling DVDs. Even though with the advent of the network, I still prefer to have an actual physical collection. You know, so where I can just go and throw a DVD on whenever I want. I know you can do that with a network, but to me it's just not the same. You know, I can sit and watch a DVD with my stepson. He's sort of in and off. Well, my son. He's on and off with wrestling. He'll come and sit with me if it's somebody he knows. But yeah, I've digressed again. I apologise. So yeah, so I was watching like Raw, SmackDown, what else, whatever I could watch. So WCW and ECW have gone defunct, and then with the advent of the internet, I managed to get that myself. I sort of started managing to get hold of older wrestling, watching it on YouTube or wherever I could get it, and you know, it's just gone from there. I watch what I can when I can, and when I can watch it, I'll watch as much as I possibly can in the time that I've got. It's not always easy, you know, between, you know, working, kids, girlfriend, but I still manage to watch as much wrestling as I can. I got into TNA heavily, but as mentioned in my first proper episode video, I've lost touch with TNA. I've still not managed to get back into it. I've kind of lost touch with Ring of Honor. I really got into that. I've not managed to keep up with that. The only thing I've really managed to keep up with is Raw, which I'm a little bit behind on, but you know, I'm in the process of catching up. And NXT, which again I've dropped a little bit behind on, but I have every intention of watching as much of that as I can when I can. So yeah, it's just managing to watch what I can when I can, and watching the biography DVDs. I still buy myself, the DVDs off when I see them on eBay. Postman will come in, and there might be one or there might be two or three DVDs. Obviously, as you can tell, I've got my replica belts, which obviously, if you watched my other previous videos, you'll know about my belts. I have quite a good collection of belts. I'm happy with it so far. There are more that I want, and I will get on to getting them eventually. First replica belt I got was the WWE spinner. I should really have used it for this video, but not to worry. I may actually do another video about the spinner and what have you. I don't know yet, because people who are familiar with my channel will know that I do videos about the replicas I've got, and I'll do like a brief history, or in the case of this one, I did a restoning video on it when I changed the standard stones for Swarovskis. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, obviously, as you can see, I collect DVDs, books. I enjoy reading biographies. Two of my favourite ones are up there: the Ric Flair and the Edge one. If anybody's not read them, highly recommend them. Great reads. I've read them 2 or 3 times now. It's like watching a film. You know what's coming, but I still enjoy sitting and watching them. The CM Punk DVD, you can see there, is one of my favourite documentary DVDs. WrestleMania 30 is one of the DVDs I bought recently. I never got around to buying it when it was out brand new. I always kept meaning to, but then other things would pop up, and bills need paying, house to run, kids to feed, important things, and then it came up on eBay, so I grabbed it while it was cheap. The NWO, which you can just see there, DVD, the Ric Flair one next to it, which is there obviously. Great Watch, The Rock, that's another one of my favourite DVDs. The Randy Orton one, surprisingly, I enjoyed that. I bought it, obviously I knew I'd like it because I like Randy Orton, but I really enjoyed that DVD, which could be something I may look into in the future, doing DVD reviews, but again, I digress. This one's about me and wrestling. So yeah, as you can see, basically I collect various different wrestling memorabilia. I have my own group on Facebook. I'm members of a couple of other groups. I'll put the groups on the end of the video, and then if you want to check them out, they're there on Facebook. And my group is when I started a few years ago. Basically, it's just people to show off the merchandise, what they collect. We sit and chat about wrestling. People who, like in the staff, a lot of members in the States who go to independent wrestling shows. Two of my friends, Carol and David, they go to a lot of independent wrestling shows, and they go to a lot of Ring of Honor shows as well. I was very, very lucky that both of them were good enough to send me things over. Carol sent me a Bullet Club t-shirt, which arrived on my birthday. It was last year, I think. And my friend David sent me some DVDs over, which I've watched and absolutely love. I'll probably do a review of those at some point. I'll have to find out the legality of the DVD though, because I don't want to be getting anybody into trouble, or get myself into trouble, basically. But yeah, back to the point of the video. So yeah, so I got into wrestling. Over the years, I've seen some great things in wrestling. Not many of them live, like on the pay-per-views. I've not seen many live pay-per-views, apart from the ones like from when I had Sky. A lot of the older pay-per-views I used to watch, pre-recorded, or recorded off Sky, or whatever, or on DVDs, like a lot of the older ECW things. I've seen on my ECW event DVDs and the unreleased series that WWE have started churning out. Some of my favourite moments that I can think of off the top of my head. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit becoming champions at the same WrestleMania. To me, more now than at the time, that is just a great moment in history. Obviously, there's the whole Benoit controversy, which is a shame, but yeah, that was a great moment for me, seeing Eddie win the title, Chris win the title, and Eddie coming down to congratulate him. One of my first early memories, the Ultimate Warrior beating Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship. Hogan went in, as the Intercontinental Champion. Hogan, of course, WWF Champion, and their match at WrestleMania 6. I remember my dad's friend got me that to watch. I later bought the VHS and I saw the DVD of it now. Even though neither of them are great workers, you can look at it now from an adult point of view. The work rate is not immense, but just something about that match. Two of my favourite wrestlers were in the crowd for that, Edge and Christian. They were sat in that night, one cheering for Hogan, one cheering Warrior. I'm pretty sure it was Edge cheering Hogan, Christian Warrior. In fact, yeah, it will have been, because Edge did say in his book that he got to tag up with Hogan, which was great for him. What else? The first TLC match, which was just immense. I just couldn't believe that match. All the tag teams in that match deserve so much credit, and they do quite rightly get all the credit in the world for that match. What else? Edge winning his first WWE Championship when he cashed in on Cena after Cena had been through the Elimination Chamber. I was a Cena fan back then. It's obviously before now, where he's all, sort of rammed down his throats, which gets him a lot of grief off the internet wrestling community. But back in the day, 2005, like I said, I bought the Spinner. That was my first replica belt I bought. It's another belt I'll never get rid of. It'll always have a special place in my heart. Not just because it was my first replica, mostly because my nan gave me the last bit of money I needed to buy that for my birthday. I was short. I've been saving up for ages, and I was short a certain amount, and she gave me money for my birthday. So, rather than get presents, I'd asked her to. I think I was, a little bit short, so she just went, "There you go, get the belt. You've saved up. You get it." And I got it. And the first chance I got, I took it over to her. I carried it over in a backpack. Did 2 bus rides over to my nan's. When I got there, she didn't quite know what to make of it, but at the end of the day, she was like, "Oh, you're happy, I'm happy. I'm glad you like it." She couldn't believe the weight of it, so at least she got to see what she'd helped me buy, which meant a lot to me. But yeah, back to Edge winning the WWE title, winning the world title as well. I was well happy. Like I said, being an Edge fan, I've always liked Edge, even when he was a heel. What else have I watched? Like I said, a lot of them are like stuff that I've watched on DVD. Watching Terry Funk win the ECW world title at Barely Legal 97 or something. Or one of the events to do with a 3-way ladder match. I think I mentioned it in my ECW world title video about that match. The first lockdown match I ever saw, like I said, I got mentioned in my TNA video I did. I just thought that was the greatest thing ever. Like I said in that video, I watched that with my dad. I watched it and then watched it with my dad. And even my dad thought it was a brilliant idea, because we'd seen cage matches before, but then you bang a roof on it, right, it's a Hell in a Cell, but it's got weapons. I thought that was great. Obviously ECW the WWE, ECW did the Elimination Chamber with weapons, but to me it wasn't the same. Mankind being thrown off the cell by the Undertaker, absolutely amazing moment. I went to a Mick Foley show over here. My girlfriend got me a ticket, and he mentioned that, obviously, which you'd expect him to. And it was just unreal seeing the guy that I'd seen thrown off there and come through the roof of his Hell in a Cell match with Triple H and then go through the ring as well. And Triple H and the referee legitimately thought he was dead. I remember me and my dad both saying, "That's it, he's dead, he's done. That's got to be it." But thankfully he wasn't. What else? The first Hell in a Cell match, HBK and Undertaker, and Kane made his debut. Like I said, Triple H, Cactus Jack, Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank matches. I enjoyed them if they're done right. Daniel Bryan winning the WWE title was great for me. This whole storyline was written perfectly. To the underdog coming good on the grandest stage of all, as I say. Going into Ring of Honor, Jay Briscoe winning the Ring of Honor World title. I watched that and I thought it was amazing. I'm a massive fan of the Briscoe brothers. I have a DVD over on my rack of the Briscoes. So I know most of this stuff here is WWE related, but I do have Ring of Honor TNA DVDs, and I've got a couple of other various random DVDs, some British companies, various American independent ones. But yeah, Young Bucks winning the Ring of Honor tag titles. I remember watching that, and I believe my friends Carol and David were there that night, and they watched it, and I watched it a few days later, or a while after, on Ring of Honor TV, and I was just like, wow, cool. I've sort of got into New Japan Pro Wrestling lately. I'm starting to really get into that. Obviously can't understand much commentary unless I have English commentators on. Some of the matches there, the Japanese wrestling is just immense. I mean, I'd heard people talk about it for years, but it was something I'd never thought to watch until it led me to a moment I was about to mention in my favourite wrestling moment. AJ Styles winning the TNA World title, and then leaving the company due to his contract expiring and TNA not having the common sense to re-sign him. So he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling and wrestled for Ring of Honor and various independent companies. CM Punk, obviously, his 434-day reign. The Rock and Austin's feuds. Austin McMahon, they were great storylines. From my childhood, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, they had some great matches. Legion of Doom, LOD, Demolition, Hart Foundation, tag team wrestling in the 80s was great. The Bulldogs, the Rockers, there were some great teams. The Rougeaus, I was never a fan of the Rougeaus, but they had some great matches. Then obviously you got into like your Attitude Era, the Hart Foundation. I enjoyed the Hart Foundation both in tag team and the stable. I thought they were great. The Four Horsemen, most versions of it. Obviously the original will always be the Four Horsemen to me. The only version I didn't like was the one that had Mongo, McMichael and Luger. I didn't quite... No, that didn't sit right with me. Not that I'm saying I'm some sort of wrestling purist or anything, but that just didn't quite sit right. To me, the Horsemen will always be Flair, Arn, Tully, Ole Anderson. That will always be the Four Horsemen to me. I did like the Flair, Arn, Benoit and Malenko Horsemen. I thought that was a great take on a modern day Horseman. Sticking with factions, the original DX, which obviously, like I said, Shawn, Triple H and China, with Rick Rude appearing occasionally, which I've got on DVDs. The DX with Triple H, X-Pac, New Age Outlaws and China. I loved all that. The NWO, the original NWO, not the Jeff Jarrett reboot just before WCW went belly up. The original NWO, Hogan, Nash, Hall, and then the Wolfpack, and then it just got ridiculous with the NWO. Yeah, everybody put an NWO t-shirt on just so they could be on WCW TV. What else? ECW, I enjoyed a lot of stuff there. The BWO, I mean, they were great. They were just, I mean, it was their jab at the NWO, obviously, but they were great. Anything with World Order seemed to take off at that time. Eddie Guerrero's Latino World Order. They had some really good wrestlers in that group. I even enjoyed the Job Squad. I thought they were quite funny. Gilbert used to do like the Goldberg thing where you have the people with sparklers and stuff like that. Various matches, hardcore title, and the matches that came with that, just hours of fun, memories that I've got of wrestling. There was a time when I used to just watch wrestling, and I used it as an escape from real life, and it was like a lot of people watch soap operas. I used to watch wrestling, and it was a big escape for me, from the worries and stresses of everyday life, which I suppose it is to the majority of wrestling fans. And wrestling's a big part of my life. I mean, I, like all wrestling fans, probably get people giving me a load of grief, a lot of shit to me. I ignore them. Oh, you watch wrestling, you've grown up, it's fake. Really? Yeah. Oh, I watched this great film last night. Oh yeah, tell me about how real that is. It's the same sort of thing. I wear t-shirts out and about. I've worn this one many a time into town. I've worn my wrestling t-shirts to do the school run when I've taken the kids and dropped them off and then picked them up in the afternoon. I wear wrestling t-shirts regularly when we go shopping. I've worn a couple of them to work. Subtle ones that I can get away with. Not I won't wear anything like this to work, but I've worn them to work. So I collect DVDs, my replica belts. I read magazines. I get little bits and bats of merchandise, books, obviously. And it's just like it's an escape for me from real life, and wrestling has given me so many good memories through the years and helped me through a lot of hard times personally. And now obviously through Facebook and the internet in general, it's become easier for wrestling fans to chat about things, keep up to date with what's happening. I mean, I've made some great friends through various groups on Facebook, including my own, which I will put the name of the group up and the link. I'll reel off a few names now. Josh James, the OWO Fan 19 channel guy. Yeah, we started the OWO Fan 19 channel. Like I mentioned, my friend Carol Long, David Soraya, Dave Marquette, I can't remember how to pronounce your surname. A guy I've not spoken to for a while, but Carl Pothecary in the UK. He's in my group, and I've chatted with him a few times. Sky Peltier, I'm not sure how you pronounce your surname. I apologise if I've got it wrong. Canada's biggest wrestling, Mark Albrodick. Chatted to him many a time. That guy has an awesome collection of belts. I hope one day to be somewhere close to him. More recently, I've made some friends here in the UK. A guy by the name of Mark Falloon, who lives in Scotland. Me and him chat regular. Brendan Delaney, who's in a couple of the belt groups I'm in, he's in my group as well. Chat regular with him. Paul Fry, he's another one. Adrian Hargrave, who's a re-leatherer here in the UK, who I'm friends with. There's guys like Al Gonzalez. There's a guy who re-leathers belts in the States called Ray Ray. Chad Smith, I've chatted to him. He joined my group before he started re-leathering belts. Chad's a great guy. He does re-leathering. Who else have I? There's so many people. If I literally sat here and tried to remember everybody, I'd be here forever. I say Al Gonzalez, Ray Ray, they're members of the group. Josh, Carol, David, all those guys I've already mentioned. I honestly can't think of everybody, and if I've forgotten anybody, I do apologise. Say it's just this video is just something I've just decided to throw together as a sort of getting to know me type video. But yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope it hasn't gone on too long and bored everybody, but I just figured I'd throw it out there as so people can sort of realise who I am, how I got into wrestling, etc. And what have you. So yeah, that's all for now for this video. Thanks for watching. Like I said, I hope I haven't bored you all. And again, when I mentioned the list of people, these were just people that were at the top of my notifications list. If I missed anybody, it's not intentional. It's not, it's just genuinely I could only remember a few people to list, but everybody who I talk to in all the groups, they're great. So I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. Like I say, I hope it hasn't bored you. I will be back again soon with another video for you all. I'm not sure what it'll be, but I'll think of something. So yeah, that's all for now. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.